Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Unwind Crochet. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful curly crochet, and this is a nice thick soft scarf. It's an eternity scarf. It is sewn together, and what I wanted to show you is how to make this beautiful stitch using just a half double slip stitch in the back loop, which sounds like a lot, but it's actually super easy. So if you want to stick around, let's go ahead and get started making this beautiful piece. Okay, so the secret to making curly crochet like this, and we're going to be taking this thin baby yarn, it's really fine and thin, into this thick, soft, squishy pattern. And I think you're just going to really love this. The secret to making this out of such thin yarn, though, is we're going to use the chain as our working yarn. So the first thing you want to do is just start with a chain. Let's go ahead and make a slip knot. And I'm using Bernat Softy Baby yarn for this. It is 5-ounce skein, and you get about 362 yards per skein. And the color that I'm using here is soft peach, although I think it's more pink than peach. It's like a peachy pink. Just a beautiful color. It looks good on everybody. And the needle that I'm using is a 7mm needle. This yarn is so fine it calls for a 3.25mm needle, but we're going to be working a chunky pattern, so we want a bigger needle. And what you're going to do is just start chaining. You're going to make a chain, really, really long chain. This isn't what you're making to a certain length. This isn't the length of your scarf. We are actually creating our working yarn. So you're going to chain for quite a while. Make it as long as you can get it. I would say between at least 200 and 400 chains. And once you've done that, go ahead and meet me back here, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do with it to create this beautiful scarf. Okay, so I've made myself a nice long chain here, and it doesn't have to be a perfect chain, it's going to be a really loose chain anyway because you're using such a large hook with this fine yarn. And what we're going to do now is we're going to find our tail end of this chain. Got a nice long chain here. This is our tail end, and we're going to use this, just set your needle aside, we're going to use this as our working yarn now. So just like starting any project, you're going to start with a slip knot. We're going to make a slip knot out of our chain. And this is where you're going to appreciate having a bigger needle. This now becomes our working yarn. And so I've got a slip knot, my first loop. I'm just going to start chaining here. Now is when you want to start counting the chains for your scarf. And for my eternity scarf, I went ahead and did 105 chains, but you can make this as long or as short as you want. 105 chains just wrapped perfectly around my neck in a nice, not tight, but not hanging down either, but just a nice eternity scarf. So once you do that, let's go ahead and make our chains, and you're going to want to count them now. And if you want to test it, once you get ahead in this a little bit, you're going to wrap it around your neck and just kind of test the length out to get it just to the right length. But that's all you're going to do right now is just chain it to the length you want. I recommend about 105 to 110 chains long. Once you've done that, go ahead and meet me at the end of your chain. All right, so you've made your chain as long as you want it to be, and I went ahead and did a couple extra chains because we are going to be chaining into the third chain from the hook. So that's going to be our turning chain right there. So go ahead and do a couple more after you've reached the amount that you want. And then I went ahead and chained myself another long piece of working yarn here to work with. And the first thing that we're going to do is find that third chain from the hook. So there's the loop on our hook. There's 1, 2, 3. We're going to yarn over and do a half double slip stitch into this chain. So you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, insert your hook, just like a normal half double. Pull up a loop, hold that loop with your thumb, and pull it through the 2 on your hook. Let's go ahead and do that again. There's my next chain. I'm going to yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, hold it with my thumb, and pull it through those 2 on my hook. So you eliminate that last yarn over like you would do in a normal half double crochet. Let's go ahead and do it again. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, hold that with your thumb, and pull it through the 2 on your hook. Yarn over, insert it into the next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, hold it with your thumb, and pull it through the 2 on the hook. You're going to do this all the way across. So yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, hold it with your thumb, pull it through the 2 on the hook. And again, yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, hold it with your thumb, pull it through the 2 on your hook. You're going to just want to do that all the way across to your very last stitch. And I'll show you a few more here if you want to watch. The half double slip stitch. Just like that. You're going to go all the way across to your last chain. When you get to the last chain, meet me there and I'll show you what to do when you turn your chain for round 2. Okay, so we're back and I'm here at the end of my foundation chain. I am doing 105. I got one more to go here. I'm just going to yarn over, insert, pull up a loop, hold it, pull through the 2 on my hook. And then I just kind of tighten up my little tail end here. There we go. And now you're ready to turn your work. The first thing we're going to do is just chain 1. And for this pattern, I normally would not chain 1, but we're going to. We're going to chain 1. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to see your last stitch. So this is your chain 1, and this is your loop on your hook. Ignore those. This is the first chain you're going to be working into right here. So let's turn our work. We're going to yarn over, insert into the back loop only. So you got your 2 loops here on the top, front loop and back loop. You're going to yarn over and insert into the back loop only. Pull up a loop, and just like before, pull it through the 2 on your hook. Let me show you that again. We're going to yarn over. Here's the V of your stitch, just like normal. We're going to go through the back loop only. Pull up a loop, hold it, and pull it through the 2 on our hook. You don't want this too tight. Try to keep it a little bit loose so it's easy to work in on the next round. You're going to yarn over. There's our front loop and back loop. Go through the back loop only. Pull up a loop, hold it, pull it through the 2 on your hook. I'll do a few more for you. There's the front loop and back loop. Go through the back loop only. Yarn over, pull up a loop, hold it, and pull it through the 2 on your hook. As you get used to this stitch, you're going to get really fast at it. Your thumb is automatically going to go to the base of that loop before you pull it through the 2 on your hook, and you're going to get going pretty quickly, and your scarf's going to build up really fast. I mean, you can see it's already forming this rib pattern that the stitch makes, and it's just a beautiful stitch when it's made with this curly crochet using the chain as your working yarn. Just gives that yarn just kind of a curly look. It's super thick and plush and really, really soft and has lots of flexibility. Yeah, I just love the feel of it. Let's do a couple more here. Into the back loop, pull up a loop, hold it, pull through the 2 on the hook. Yarn over, go through the back loop, pull up a loop, hold it, go through the 2 on your hook. It's kind of weird working with a chain, but it's easier than you think, and you'll get the hang of it really fast. Go through the 2 on the hook. Yarn over, go through 2, pull up a loop, pull through the 2 on your hook. And you're going to do that all the way across to your last chain. When you get to your very last chain, your last stitch, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to work right into that very first chain at the end. And what you're going to do is just keep building up your rows. You're going to do that same half double slip stitch in every single stitch, and just keep repeating that row after row until it's the thickness that you want. For the scarf I went ahead and did 10 rows, and that was the perfect thickness I wanted, but you can make it as thick as you want. At the end of 2 skeins, you're probably going to have some left over of the 2 skeins. If you make 105 chains and you make it 10 rows, you'll probably have some left over. So if you wanted to make it a little bit thicker, you'd probably have enough in 2 skeins to do that. But I'm going to meet you at the end and show you how to tie off your work and sew the 2 ends together for an eternity scarf. I will meet you back when you have all the rows that you wanted to make. See you there. Okay, well, welcome back. By now you've probably made all of the rows that you want your scarf to be, and it's as thick as you want it to be, or as wide. And I'm here at the end of my very last row, and I'm going to go ahead and work that last stitch in the corner. I'm done. I'm going to go ahead and cut my yarn. There we go. And we're to the end of this chain. What I want to do here is go ahead and just tie off like normal. So we're going to pull that through and pull it tight. Well, not too tight. We don't want it to distort our work here. But for my chain, I do want to undo this chain. Oh, I got a little knot here. I want to undo it until it's right up to the edge of the work. And I'm going to get this knot undone, and I'm going to undo my chain until we're right up here at the end. Be right back. Okay, I got that little knot undone. What you want to do now that we've tied it off here, we're going to go ahead and undo any remaining chain that we have, any remaining working chain. Get it as close as possible. And we're going to actually tie that off as well. I've left a nice long piece here. It's about, I don't know, 30 inches long or so. Probably way more than we're going to need, but it's just to go ahead and sew our ends together here. And what you want to do is lay your piece flat so that it isn't, you don't want it twisted at all. You're just going to lay it flat like this. And then the other way as well. So it's laying flat. No twists in the scarf at all. And put these 2 ends here together. These are the 2 that we're going to sew together. Okay, so we have our two ends together here. We're going to sew together, and I've gone ahead and put our tail on a large embroidery hook. And the parts of this scarf we're going to be working into, we're not going to be sewing through these loose end pieces here. We're going to be sewing through the thicker parts of the ribs. And that way it just leaves it a little bit more of an invisible seam. But let's go ahead and get started. So here's where we left off with our tail. We're going to put it through the thick part of this corner here. And pull it together. To go through to the other side, you can see here is the thick part of our chain. It's like one of the ribs. And the thick part of the rib on this side, we're going to go right through the middle of that and right through the middle of the other side, just like that. You don't want to pull it too tight. You don't want it scrunched up. You just, when it's open, you just want it to kind of lay together. Then we're going through this thick part right here. Put that through there. Put it through the same spot on the other side, which is right, not that loose end, but the tight spot underneath right there. Going through there. And pull. Not too tight, but you do still want it kind of snug. Now we're going to go through the next rib as close to the top as we can get it without coming through this loose part. And through this rib. This is pretty wide here, so I'm going to go through the thick part in between the ribs, which would be right here. Go back through the rib, on this side, right through the thickest part. We just have the corner left here. I'm going to go through this thick part right here. And this thick part right here. All right, and then what we're going to do is just tie this off. I'm going to go through one more time here, just to make a little loop that I can make a knot, that's all. Pull that tight. And then you can cut your yarn. Go ahead and cut your yarn and leave enough to sew in the end. But that is it for seaming your scarf. It looks nice on the other side. Your ribs match up. We'll sew in this end here. But it's nice that the ribs match up like that. And it's pretty invisible to see. It's not too noticeable. It doesn't stand out. But that is how you finish off the scarf. And if you have any questions about sewing in your ends, you would just use your same needle here and put this on your hook, and you would weave it in through your stitches here till it's invisible. And that's all you do to weave in your ends. If you have any questions about that, though, go ahead and comment below and I'll be happy to help you out. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you liked it and you enjoy this curly crochet, go ahead and leave a like and hit the subscribe button, and that really helps me out. Leave a comment below if you really liked it, and I hope to see you again in the next video. Take care.